Hey there, all my PopCon peeps. Magic Man Rusty here. Welcome to this live streaming episode of the Magnificent Seven. To celebrate PopCon Indy's 7th anniversary, we spend 7 minutes with members of our PopCon family. And joining us in the PopCon corral tonight, we have the best dressed man from Indiana and 4 Emmy nominations to prove it. I'm your host, Rusty Ammerman, and our Magnificent Seven with costume designer Daniel Lawson begins right now. Dan, good to see you. Now, full disclosure, Dan and I have a little, well, actually quite a lot in common. We both went to the same high school, only you are much, much older than I am.
Much older.
Yeah.
You can tell right away.
You were a senior when I was actually in 8th grade, so we just missed high school. But Dan and I were in a lot of the same theater groups at Tri-Ep and John Connor Players, Civic Youth Theater, and it is magnificent to see that you have gone on to stardom as a costume designer. In fact, does this play look familiar? Can you guess which one I am?
That's incredible.
So this was Tri-Ep's, that was the Wizard of Oz, and clearly Dan was playing the role of Dorothy.
Yes.
Yeah, you were the Scarecrow, and I was one of the people in Oz and a Munchkin. Do you remember that production?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, that was your senior year, right?
No, junior year.
It was your junior year.
Yeah.
Then I was in 7th grade. I messed that. Well, let's look at some of the. Right now, you're working on The Good Fight. You're doing. You've done in the past The Good Wife, which led to this. You started in wardrobe and became a costume designer. What is the difference from one to the other?
Well, wardrobe is where it's like once the clothes have been picked out and the design has happened, then it's handed over to the wardrobe department who deals with continuity and deals with the actor directly on set. I'm the creative end, and they're more. Although I'm not saying they're not creative, but I'm more the creative end, and they're more on set with the actor making it happen.
Okay, so the costume designer, what you are now, you are kind of the architect, and then you pass on the plans, and other people build the project. Then,
right.
Okay, and so the Good Fight. I'm telling you what, you have been doing this for a long time. I think you have probably seen more celebrities in their underwear than Heidi Fleiss.
I have to say, I have seen a lot of celebrities.
There we go. That's from The Good Fight, I believe, isn't it?
That's Good Fight. First episode of season 4. Yeah.
So people probably think it's so much fun to be on the set, but you told me once that that's really the set days are the most tedious.
On set. I'm always like, I got stuff to do. I got to make things happen. I'm like, oh, you just wait around forever for them to get the lights just right and the angles just right, and then finally they get a shot off. Then I can run back to my office and do fittings and
do what you actually need to. All right, well, let's do some fun questions here. When you were younger, Halloween, obviously a lot of cosplay people show up at our PopCon. They're going to love to hear this interview with you. Did you really participate in Halloween as a kid?
As a kid, I did. Now I can't stand it. I'm like the shoemaker whose children have no shoes.
Right. The doctor's kids are always sick. The plumber's pipes always leak, and the costume designer is always wearing sweatpants.
That's right. Black is fantastic.
Right.
As a kid, I loved doing Halloween. Yeah, I loved dressing up.
So you were kind of into cosplay before the term cosplay even really existed then.
That's right.
All right. So when you were younger, did you want to grow up to be an actor, or did you kind of know you wanted to?
When I was really young, I wanted to be a doctor, but I think it was because of the smart bag that you got to carry around. So I think it was that. And then yeah, right. And I always made sure my doctor's bag matched my shoes. So
and belt.
And belt, of course.
Well,
I'm embarrassed that you felt the need to say that, Rusty. It's always a belt. Yeah.
I want to remind everybody.
Then I thought I wanted to be an actor. And then I love doing it. The thing was, I would get so nervous. And when I went to Northwestern undergraduate school, I thought I was going to study acting. I got so nervous, and and then I was like, I want to be a costume designer. It just like suddenly hit me, and I went, oh. And I got to play every part in my head, and I love that.
That's right. The costume designer is kind of is a universal actor, aren't they?
Oh yeah. I mean, we have to know every single character. I have to support what the actors are doing, what the script is trying to say, what the director's trying to do. The point of view of the show, the whole thing. So it's. I feel like I get to play every part.
That's right. Now, people from the outside looking in would say like, "Oh, it must be so fun. You get to design whatever." But oftentimes, I'm guessing the director or even the material puts you in a pretty narrow box just
That's
because
right.
you want to go elaborate. This character, whomever Bob the plumber, would not wear a poet shirt. You've got to come up with what fits the character.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I mean, I always say, I'm a storyteller. So I always start with the script, and whatever that story is in the script, I make sure that the clothes further that story and help tell it visually.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Excellent. Excellent. So, when is you're saying the shooting is going to start again? You guys are hoping sometime in July, right?
Yes, I'm hoping on Evil, which is the show I'm doing right now for CBS. There it is.
That is.
Yeah, and
Well,
awesome.
I'm sorry, let me interject here. For those who haven't seen it, Dan's a CBS guy, and good for you. Evil is kind of a cross between the X-Files and the Exorcist. It's a little paranormal. It's a little investigatory. It is a wonderfully naughty little show.
And we got such amazing reviews. Like I believe it was Entertainment Weekly rated us like the best network show of the season. I mean, we really got great reviews. Robert and Michelle King created it, and they're a little warped. Something's going on up there, and man, what they come across with it just fills your heart.
And you think that in July it's going to the productions in some form that's the
We
target.
hope so. Look, we're having. I know that they're having some design meetings already. The writers are working all remotely, but they're working on the second season. I'm going to have a design meeting with them next week, and we're hoping that I will be back in the shop in June, and they'll start shooting in July. But we really have to see, and we don't know what that's going to look like.
Right, of course.
Get back in. Does that mean everything's going to be done on sets and it's insular? We don't know.
Right,
So.
right. Well, speaking of July, I want to shout out to the people here that we are still very hopeful that PopCon Indy this year is going to happen July 10th through the 12th. We've been working hand in hand with the Indiana Convention Center, IU Health, and Visit Indy to make sure that we make it as safe an environment, but we want to make it enjoyable too. We want to try to find that balance between being super safe and also, as in your case, giving off a really good product.
Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So, is there if your favorite musical of all time? Let's go back to the old days. What is your
favorite music of all time? Is Pippin.
Pippin,
number one.
And if you could get the job as the costume designer for any production, past or present, what would be your pipe dream there? We're talking on the boards.
I would love to do something that takes place at like the turn of the century into the Edwardian period, right in there. I mean, I would love that. Like if you could take a room with a view and put it on stage, my heart would be so full it would explode.
And it would be hard to wardrobe that explosion.
That's right.
So when you were younger, you didn't think you were going to grow up to be the next Edith Head or the next Bob Mackie. It just, as we were talking off camera, it just kind of evolved in that.
That's right. In college, it definitely evolved. And I had a professor my third or fourth year at Northwestern. We had just a series of designers. Nobody was like really taking the job seriously as costume professor. And we had this guy come in and he pulled me and said, "Look, do you want to be a costume designer? Are you sure?" And I was like, yeah. He's like, "Okay, I've got 1 year to teach you 4 years worth. Let's do it." And I mean, we did it. We jumped in. And then I went to graduate school afterwards to Rutgers and got a master's. And it was so funny. It was almost like this calm came over me when I realized, no, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens when there's that epiphany. Things just suddenly lock in, and then you wonder why you never saw it before.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And I would say a little shout out to Ray Casey, who was the head of our Tri-Epsilon theater group when we were in high school. He made us do everything. We had to work on costumes and sets and lights and sound and in addition to being the actor or the director or whatever you did, you had to do everything. And I think that instilled not only respect but a yearning to do that. And so when I got and everybody wants to be an actor because who doesn't want to be a star and in front of everybody?
Right, exactly.
But I just costume, like I said, when I figured out that was it, it's almost like everything lined up in my body. And I was like, oh, yes. And now I'm so lucky I get to do what I love doing.
Yeah. So, yes, shout out to Ray Casey, who
Right.
is probably even a better speech coach
Yeah.
than he was a theatrical director. And I'm not saying I'm actually being very complimentary. He really understood how to tell a story. He got
absolutely, absolutely. And you know, the speech thing, the speech team. You know, when I tell people that I was on speech team, they're like, "Oh, were you, Dan?" And I'm like, "Stop it! That's so mean."
Speech team, chess club.
That's right. And,
Right.
and I got to tell you, man, it's like I can speak now, like off the cuff. I actually travel around for this clothing company called Lafayette 148 New York, and I host fashion shows for them all over the country. And my gift of gab that I learned from Ray Casey and standing up in front of a group and being able to just speak. I mean, every time I do it, I think, thank you, Ray.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yes. So many. It surprises me to hear that the number one fear of Americans is public speaking. That's number one, and number two is being dead. So Jerry Seinfeld's joke is, so at any funeral, more people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. But so yeah, for everybody out there, take speech class in high school. Be on the speech team if you've got.
True. I tell you, just being able to stand up there and get a cohesive thought across, it is incredible. And you know what? And it gives you such confidence to be able to do it, you know, and to command a room. And there's a little bit of confidence and self-awareness about it, and it takes practice.
Of course,
as
it's a skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill, of course it is, but it's a skill that people recognize even if they don't consciously recognize it.
Yeah.
So
I wish all the time that I was doing speech that I had your voice. You have the best voice ever. You like, if I could take your voice, it'll be like the Little Mermaid, and I'll take your voice and put it in the locket around my neck, so I have your voice.
Thank you. I can't go further. I always say that I have a voice for radio, and unfortunately, I also have a face for radio. I just need to find a friend who can dress me. So the good fight and evil out there. I can't recommend those enough. And Dan, please, you got to come and see us at PopCon sometime. You got to.
God, I would love to come.
And as I'm listening to you talk, you're so good. You're so comfortable. There needs to be a reality show, a competition reality show for cosplay, and you need to be like the Heidi Klum of that show. That's what needs to happen.
Talk about. Have you seen Making the Cut? Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn's new fashion, looking for the next global brand. Oh my God, it's on Amazon Live. It is fantastic. I mean, I really love it. It is a fantastic show. Anyway, we'll do it for cosplay. Done.
Yeah. By the way, copyright 2020, Rusty Ammerman, all rights reserved. Ammerman and Lawson. Dan, thank you so much. I want you to do me a favor. Stick around after we say goodbye here, though, but it's been a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again. Please stay safe out there and give my love to the family. Go Spartans.
Go Spartans.
All right. So until next time, all my nerds and nerdettes, we'll see you out there. Live long and prosper.